Broadcasting the boisterous part of the fastest game in the world. We'll strap on your lids and lace them up, Rook. You're listening to the Barn Chirpers Hockey Podcast. Take a lap. Clap up, boys. Clap them up. We are kicking off the NHL season. 3 games yesterday. We'll touch on real quick. We had a lot to cover today. We are the Barn Chirpers at Barn Chirpers Pod. Give us a chirp. Follow us, like us, subscribe us. Quick little review, a 5-star. We would love all of that if you're watching on YouTube. Thanks for doing that. Hit that little subscribe button wherever it is on your screen. I'm not sure where it is. I'm not great with technology. But either way, last week, if you tuned in, if you watched, we did a live jersey reveal. I did anyway, so I'm going to do that again real quick. Captain, take it away for 2 seconds.
So he says 2 seconds. His jersey from last week, his Buffalo, made me immediately go out and buy 3 new jerseys. So I've got sweaters in the mail coming.
Are you ready for this one, Cap?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Because you literally talked about it in the last 24 hours as well, how much you like it.
Are you serious? Oh, isn't it frustrating how good of a sweater Chicago has? Look at that. Old Chris Chelios. Nice.
Chris Chelly. Yeah, this is
very nice.
Yeah, you literally just said how much you hate that you like the Blackhawks sweater. Yeah, I didn't have anybody that I wanted to get on the current roster, but I was like, I'll get a Chelly. Let me get a Chelly.
Get a Chelly. I'd consider a Bedard. I like the way his name looks with the number 98. I'd consider that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the kid had an apple in his first NHL game yesterday, but we'll get to all that. So
more on that.
Yeah, I was like, let me get that Chelly. Let me get that Chelly.
So that was the one I didn't guess last week. I never would have got that. I never would have got that.
That's why I said, like, just take a long shot, because you never would have. I've never talked about it. So, I mean, the story of it is because I got this because this is late breaking news. I will be going to the retirement ceremony on February 25th in Chicago for Chris Chelios.
Look at you go.
I was like, I'm going to do it. So here we are.
Man, I'd like to go to Chicago.
So yeah,
more on that later.
News. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. So we need to do some warmies real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little cold. Well, actually, I'm not cold. I'm pretty warm, but let's warm it up.
Got a sweater on.
I know.
You're good.
I'm good. I'm fine.
So you said.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you sent over a video that I unfortunately did not get a chance to watch, but I seen it flown around on the web. But I guess the Women's League put out a video about the draft.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't get a chance to watch the full thing yet either, but it's about a 13-minute video. They debuted it yesterday, I want to say, or it might have been what day is it today? Wednesday. It might have been Monday or Tuesday, but they debuted it. But yeah, it just covers, it goes with Taylor Heisey. I forget the other two, but I believe it's the top 3 picks that they basically followed them for the day of the draft. And so, it's about a 13-minute video. I think is great. Again, we're just talking about continuing to talk about the PWHL and continuing to put that information about the league out there, I think is a good thing. This is all great press, I think. So a nice little 13-minute documentary. I haven't watched the full thing yet, but it makes me want to see more. And that's the point. Like, make me want to see more.
Yeah. The more it's in our eyeballs and brains, then the more we're apt to tune in once puck drops. So
exactly. The only thing we're still waiting on team names, team logos, we're still waiting on all that, but hopefully have something soon. I don't have any information on that. I just I'm hoping that we have some information on that soon, because training camp for them is going to start in November.
Yeah. So that's only a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's coming up. So hopefully we hear something soon.
I can't imagine that they launched the league and they don't already know what the team names are going to be. Like that, it can't be that they haven't decided.
maybe it's like a trademark thing or a copyright thing. Maybe waiting for it to go through legal, perhaps, is the only thing that I can think of. Because, yeah, I would think that they already have it set in stone of what it's going to be. Because, I mean, again, wherever they're playing, all these 6 teams are playing, there's going to be some type of branding to go along with that while they're playing in their home barn. So that's not something you're just going to be able to whip up in, a month and a half. So I feel like it's got to be like a trademark thing or final touches on copywriting or something like that is what I would assume. Again, I don't know that to be certain, but that's what I would assume.
So very exciting news, or very exciting that they're keeping on that. Very questionable news. I think both of us were shocked 2 days ago when just randomly out of nowhere, Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuyck re-signed to identical 8.5 deals.
7 years, $8.5 million. Yeah.
Crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Out of the blue, of all this talk of not wanting to be there, and then all of a sudden they're there for pretty much the rest of their career, basically.
Yeah.
They're staying.
Yeah. Because you can't.
So,
you surely aren't going to be able to move Hellebuyck's contract now. 7 years, 8.5. Doesn't matter how good he is. Like who's got that kind of cap that is a contender?
Yeah, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. But this did make, so I heard this from Frank Saravalli, who's an NHL insider, and he made the comment that, maybe this was Kevin Cheveldayoff's, who's the general manager of the Jets, his way of, he secured these guys, and now that maybe brings up the morale in the locker room that, hey, essentially if the other players were like, well, why are we even going to try this year? Because the rest of our main guys are going to be gone by the end of this year, right? So Frank's comment was, well, now this shores up your main guys. So this gives the Jets a win now attitude, and that, everybody's going to continue to bust their butts to try to be a playoff team, try to be a contender and win now. Right.
Right.
And this is where my hot take comes in, Justin.
All right. So let's bring up the timer. Let's get this up here and add that to there. Let me know when you're ready, and I will hit the start button.
Hit the start button, buddy. Let's do it.
All right. And Joe, your hot take is on the clock.
Okay. So here's my thing. I totally understand that take of like, yeah, let's get everybody in the room on the same page. So being a little bit of a conspiracy theorist that I am, here's my take if I'm Kevin Cheveldayoff of the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, this is going to be really shady, but I've had this same team forever, and they have done nothing. The best that they've done is got to 1 Eastern Conference Finals, and they got swept. They have done nothing every single year. So let me try to make a deal by getting these guys signed and make the room think, hey, we're going to stick around and be a really good team. That's the idea. But guess what could still happen? At the trade deadline, you could very easily still move these 2 pieces and or other pieces and have the other team only take 50% of that contract. So now a Hellebuyck contract that's 8.5, if you still take 50% of that contract, it's only 4.25, Justin. That's a lot more manageable to move that piece, and now you're in full rebuild mode than just hanging on to him for the next 7 years. So that's just me throwing out a hot take that this is maybe what I see between the lines. Will it happen? Probably not. I don't know Kevin Cheveldayoff, but I feel like if I'm the GM of the Jets and I've seen this team collapse every single year after year, doing the same exact thing, yeah, you know what? I'm going to make a signing, and then at the deadline, I'm still going to try to move these pieces because at the end of the day, my job is on the line either way. If they do great, cool, I'm going to keep my job. If they don't do great, I might lose my job. If I kind of do this shady little thing and trade them off anyway, I still might lose my job. So either way, I'm just going for it if I'm Kevin Cheveldayoff, and that's my hot take.
Bam. Just like that. He hits his mark even.
It's like I cut a promo before or something.
Yeah, right. Before we move off of that, the one thing I'll add is that was the one thing I said. I was like, the Devs could still get in if the Jets eat a good portion of that contract. Sure, like that's the only way it happens.
Not bad. 4.25 is not bad.
Well, and I don't want to, because opening day was last night. I don't want to get too deep into this topic, but if you go into Reddit, like the new target apparently is UC Saros. Like the Devils fans think that he's going to end up with the Devils by the deadline. Maybe if Nashville doesn't play well, maybe.
I mean, he was standing on his head last night against the Tampa Bay Lightning at opening night, so it's very possible. I mean, if the Preds are just going to be tanking this year, which is very possible. Watching last night, Barry Trotz made a comment that they were talking about that. Well, it could go either two ways. We could be really sneaky good, or we could be really bad. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but the only reason could definitely be a trading piece for sure.
Yeah, the only reason I put any credence to it is because it is right around that contract that you were saying, like Hellebuyck at 4.25. I'll take Hellebuyck at 4.25 over Saros at 4.5. I mean, in a win now situation like we're in, yeah,
for sure. I mean, Hellebuyck, man, both solid goaltenders, but I think even just the size of Hellebuyck, I would rather have a Hellebuyck. Saros is great, but being a smaller goaltender, you don't cover as much net. He's a great goalie, don't get me wrong, but Hellebuyck is just like another half times bigger of a human, just covers more net. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at that. So,
but since we brought up the Predators, shall we get the first line out there?
Yeah, man, let's talk about it.
Opening
Tampa Bay first Nashville opening night, first game. I was originally going to send this to the group chat because when the first image of the game showed, it looked like a pretty empty Amalie Arena. And I was going to send this to the group chat. I was going to say, well, I like that they're starting early and having these, 3 games that are starting roughly right after each other. But maybe 6 or 6:30 is a better start time on opening night, considering that people are getting off of work, trying to get to the arena. The worst thing that could happen on opening night for the first game is somebody tuning in, an outsider tuning into a game with no fans in the seats. Like, to us as hockey fans, we know that, hey, it's a Tuesday night. People are trying to get in from work. And also, if you go back in an earlier episode, I talked about getting to Amalie Arena. Woof, it's tough. So, but thankfully by puck drop, it looked like a full barn. So I didn't send that text, obviously, to the group chat. But man, Tampa Bay was firing. That extra rest did them well. They were hammering the Preds in that first period. You were watching, correct?
Yeah, I watched the whole game except for maybe the first 8 to 9 minutes. I missed from puck drop till somewhere around the middle of the first, and I jumped in and I'm watching the Preds 2 shots in the first period. They couldn't get there.
In the chat, they couldn't get any shots, and with that new goaltender Jonas Johansson, who's untested, I was like, just shoot the puck. They were trying to be really fancy when they finally did get in the zone. Like, just put the puck on net, man. Like, he's untested. Put the puck on the net. But they ended up being a really good game. Tampa Bay wins 5-3. We're not necessarily going to do a results show. Anybody listening, this is just because it's opening night. But the Preds had them, and then they just couldn't stay out of the box, and that's what.
Yep.
I mean, Tampa Bay on the power play. Good luck.
Yeah, they've got so many killers, and that's just what's going to happen. But I mean, to your point, when they put the pressure on Johansson, the Preds had a very good second period, and then they came out in the third on fire. Like, I think they scored within 11 seconds. Again,
first 10 seconds.
Pressure the kid. And you saw what happened is, I think immediately, like maybe a minute or two later, they scored another one that got waved off for goalie interference.
Yep.
And immediately it's like it took the wind out of their sails. They started getting penalties, and I don't want to say they gave up. They didn't give up, but it's like they couldn't get it back going after that.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. After that got waved off, and then they took a couple penalties. Tampa Bay tied it up. And after that, it just was like, yeah, this isn't going to happen for you guys tonight. It just, yeah, like you said, they didn't give up by any means. They maintained pressure into the third, even with the empty net. And then I think it was Kucherov that secured it with the empty net goal. So I was like, all right. I mean, really you only lost by one. Technically, the empty net is, empty net. So that's not, first game of the year on the road, that's not terrible, I would say, for this squad, the Predator squad. Obviously, we have 81 more games to go. It's not panic mode by any means. I think that if they had they been able to capitalize on at least one of those power plays, we would have had a different game.
Yeah. So you used the words panic mode. And again, it's only one game. But if you're Pittsburgh, are you panicking after last night?
Man. I don't know, honestly. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm panicking, but I'm definitely like, I think we're somewhere in the middle of we're okay and panicking. Somewhere like this nonstop, like finger on the button of cut bait is just going back and forth, because you're at home and you lose 4-2 to a young Blackhawks team. Yeah, that shouldn't happen.
And not only that,
go ahead.
They gave up a 2-goal lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
This young club.
What's funny, Justin, is literally, essentially, last year, Pittsburgh lost to Chicago, and that was the nail in the coffin for missing the playoffs. And then they play Chicago again, first game of the year. And so, to go back to your question of, is it panic mode? No, there's 81 more games, but what happened? Because Mrazek was the best goaltender of the night last night. And that is saying a lot, that Peter Mrazek was an all-star goaltender last night. He had, I forget who it was. It might have been Gensel. It might have been Letang, but they had a wide open net. Or actually it might have been Crosby. I'm not sure exactly who it was. Wide open net. And he slings out of nowhere and makes a glove save that literally saved the night. Crazy talk. We're talking about Peter Mrazek here.
Peter Mrazek is coming up in conversation on a night UC Saros played. Johansson, sure. He played against Tristan Jarry. Gruby played. Yeah. It's crazy that Mrazek's the first one to come up.
For real, yeah. So great for the. Obviously, I don't really necessarily like saying this, but great for the Blackhawks on the first game of the year. Like it's great for them, and to get Bedard to shake off some cobwebs. You could, on all the pregame stuff, you could tell how nervous he was. Like, which of course, why wouldn't you be? You're 18 years old with all this hype going into the first game, playing the Penguins. Like, that's a lot of pressure. Gets an apple in his first game, so that's good way to start, I'd say. So it could always go downhill from here.
So again, we're not going to be a results show, but since there was only 3 games last night, and
it's opening night, though. It's opening night.
We got to talk about all 3 games, at least a little bit. Yeah, so I know you probably didn't make it too far into Seattle, Vegas. You probably caught the highlights today. Yeah,
I was already asleep. I did watch the game. I did watch the recap, though.
How Vegas still a wagon, man. Like, I can't believe just watching them. Like, they got better. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, Vegas is definitely still a wagon. Also, another factor with that too is, the Kraken, they lost some guys in the back end. They lost Susie. They lost Donato. I mean, he's a forward, but I mean, so a couple of the guys that were really defensive, like they did lose those guys. So I think it's going to take a little bit to kind of find the rhythm of the new squad, if you will. But yeah, I mean, Vegas is still a wagon regardless. So I think, yeah, let's see. Everybody, well, yeah, Chicago was on the road and they won. Everybody, I mean, home teams won, Tampa Bay won, and Vegas won. So I think, yeah, those first games, especially for Seattle, I don't know, just being on the road the first game just kind of sucks. I think, you get done with training camp or whatever your preseason was. Everybody had at least 2 days off, but still, just to be on the road for opening night, like it's those opening night jitters, right? Everybody has them. And then you have to be on the road too. I think it's just already kind of setting up for not necessarily a bad game, but you're kind of, I think, already in a deficit a little bit of like, all right, we're starting on the road, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, Aiden Hill looked great in net. The goal that got in, my man Jordan McCann was a nice little wrister that beat Aiden Hill. Everything else, Aiden Hill looks like exact Aiden Hill that he was in the playoffs.
I wouldn't say so much Seattle lost, but it's just Vegas won. They went out there and they played better than Seattle. I mean, I know that's really simplifying things, and it sounds really stupid to say out loud, but that's what happened. I didn't come away going, woof, Seattle's terrible this year, or I came away with they just were outmatched.
Right. Well, and again, if we talk about technicalities, really it was only, so they got an empty net goal.
Right.
And so Vegas won 4-1, but they got an empty net goal. And also Tanev put the puck in his own net I think it was the second period. He tried to do to go behind the net and it went in. So those are two goals that really just shouldn't have happened. So really that's not a bad game for Seattle. Like I wouldn't be, obviously you're upset when you lose, but I don't think, like you said, they did anything wrong, really. Again, they're playing the defending Stanley Cup champions. Really, you only lost by one goal, technically, if we're talking about technicalities.
Yeah, and I would say that's the difference between Pittsburgh losing and Seattle losing. Pittsburgh, there should be a little worry there. Seattle, I don't think so. I think you just go out and keep playing your brand of hockey, and they'll find their groove. Overall thoughts on opening night, Joe? Like, all in all, how do you think opening night was?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was good to have just 3 games on that first night. I think they made good picks of what those games were. So I'm actually praising the NHL a little bit here. And I did like how the refs said a little something at the beginning before puck drop. I kind of liked that. In the first one, Preds and Lightning, it was just like a welcome to opening night. In the Blackhawks Pittsburgh game, Kelly Sutherland, who's like, I want to say the head referee. I think he's the head referee of the NHL. Welcomed Sid for another season and then said good luck to Connor. And then, I don't know, on the recap, it seemed kind of stupid with, all right, guys, here we go. I don't know. It's kind of dumb. But I like that in general. I wonder if they're going to do it for everybody's first game. I think they should, just to bring a little something else to television. But overall, I mean, I'm excited. I stayed up late last night. I watched the first period of Pittsburgh and Chicago, so I didn't go to sleep till about 9:00, which is really late for me, if you guys don't know me. But I'm just geeked for hockey, man. And now that we have this show, obviously, as well as our first regular season doing the Barn Chirpers. So I'm excited for it. I think overall it was a good opening night. It would be great. I mean, tonight's games are mostly on TNT, so those aren't going to be ESPN Plus worthy. So I'm a little upset about that. But overall, we're on a good note. The hockey season has started. Let's go. That's all I can say.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a hot or not, swipe left, swipe right on each game. Okay. I'm going to start with Pittsburgh, Chicago. Peter Mrazek, swipe left, swipe right.
From his showing last night, swipe right. I'm swiping right.
Yeah, man.
I
Isn't
honestly,
that
I'm
crazy?
swiping right on Peter Mrazek for at least 10 games. I think he might be out of this world for 10 games and then might go back to his normal Peter Mrazek like play, which is, less than 9 save percentage and somewhere over 3 goals against average. But we'll see. But right now I'm swiping right.
Oh, I see. What has happened here? I'm somehow on Wi-Fi. I'm not supposed to be on that. So if I drop out, that's what's happened.
Okay. Well, you're still here.
All right. Well, that's
swipe
good.
right or swipe left on Wi-Fi.
I'm supposed to be wired. I don't know what happened. So let's see. First game was Tampa. I'm gonna stick with the goalies. Swipe left, swipe right on Johansson.
Man, that's tough to say because I mean they got 31 shots on them and 3 goals. That's not terrible. I just think that I'm going to swipe left, and the reason why is I don't think he's going to stand up to that type of play. I think just that extra rest did Tampa Bay well, but I don't think this kid is going to be able to have a night like that night in and night out. So I'm swiping left. They need to get a real goalie. Like Martin Jones, which he should have claimed off waivers.
I don't know how that doesn't happen.
I truly do not know. Like, I truly don't
know. I had something at the ready, but I don't want to go with another. I don't want to go with another goalie question.
Well, how about I'll give you one, Justin, because I got one for you. So,
all right,
swipe left, swipe right on. Well, you kind of already said it, but swipe left or swipe right. Vegas being President's Trophy this year. Just from night one, seeing what you saw in night one.
I'm swiping right, man. Like I don't want to. I really don't want to. But and just like you said last week, I think I don't know that I can say any different until they show me any different. They looked great last night, and the Seattle is no slouch of a team. They showed no rust. They looked really good. So I'm swiping right on that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, it'd be better once you see them play every single team. But they kind of just, I wouldn't say dismantled the Kraken, but they kind of did. They just played their game and, just continued to put that pressure on. And obviously it paid off. So
pressure. It was all about pressure. I think we've got to get onto the oh wait, we accidentally kind of already did what we were going to do for the power play.
That's okay. We've been on it for a couple of minutes now, right? So
yeah,
we're fine. We're good. I guess I will say this though. I'll give you something to buy or sell, Justin.
All right.
Are you buying or selling the? We already kind of talked about it. Are you buying or selling Pittsburgh Penguins being in trouble, losing on home ice in the first game of the year? Essentially, how I positioned it before. They lost to the Blackhawks last year. That took them out of the playoffs, and now they just lost to essentially the same Blackhawks team on opening night. Are you buying or selling Pittsburgh being in trouble, losing on game opening night at home?
You hate to put so much stock in one game. You really do. I mean, it's not like they played terrible, but how do you let that happen on home ice, getting doubled up by a young club like that? Chicago is not a very good hockey club, but
yeah,
I think I still got to sell. I mean, I need to see at least one more game. I mean, I'm selling. I want to buy it because I want them to be bad. I want it to be over for them, but sure. I can't imagine. This has to be a blip. Like this has to be. They did too much in the offseason. They barely missed the postseason last year. This has to be a blip.
Yes, same. Even though I want to be contrarian, but I think the biggest thing is just looking at their power play last night. It wasn't clicking like it normally would. And you have that new piece of Carlson running, being the captain essentially of that first power play line, and usually it's Letang. So you have a new piece in there that doesn't know these guys. I mean, yeah, they had training camp together, but that's a couple of weeks. And preseason, they all played together maybe one game. So it's going to take a little bit to get a power play flowing, unlike say like an Edmonton's power play, which is always high powered. Those same guys are the same every single year. They have been over the last couple of years. So it's essentially easier for a team like that to just pop in, even if it's one guy, to pop into that power play, and they're going to be successful. So it's going to take a few games. I think that was the biggest letdown of that game yesterday, is their power play just couldn't do anything. I don't have the stat in front of me, but I don't think they even had a shot on the power play, and they had a couple of chances. So that's troublesome, but I'm not buying that, losing on home ice game one is a total destruction. Like, oh boy, what are we going to do? If that makes sense.
Totally. That's exactly where I'm at. Is unfortunately they need some time. We got to give it to them, because they did just acquire a huge piece, and like you said, he's quarterbacking power play 1. So we got to give it some time.
Yeah, they were 0 for 2 on the power play last night. So again, if you convert one of those, you're in a much better standing than losing by 2 vice. You get either lost by 1 or, who knows what happened there. But like you said earlier, to this same point, we're still sticking on this Blackhawks and Penguins game. Yeah, they were up by 2, and they just blew it. So, obviously that can't happen. And that goes back to the same question of when we talked about when when they re-signed Jari, like, Jari, that's going to be your guy from Murray, who obviously we chirp him now, but you go from Murray to Fleury, and now Jari's your guy. I don't know. I don't see it. But
yeah, serviceable goaltender, but is that the guy that's going to get you there? And I mean, we do, they have a lot of new pieces in the defense too, between Carlson and Graves, and it's a new club, and I hate to give them a grace period, but I think it warrants it. It's hard to give that when you give up a 2-goal lead to a very young Chicago Blackhawks club. So
yeah, it's a little bit embarrassing. Just a little bit.
If nothing else. All right. Do we want to pull the goalie here?
I was just going to make one last point. If Bedard scored like 2 or 3 goals and he was just destroying you, then okay, I get that. But like the new toy didn't really do anything. I mean, he, like I said, he got an apple. That's great. But like the other guys that nobody ever talks about are the ones that scored those goals. So yeah,
what was old dude sniped them from like way out in the circle, like while he was falling on his face.
Yeah. So again, that's where I go back to Jari's your guy. Are you sure? Okay. All right, man. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So, Gutman, or excuse me, it was Foligno. Foligno did it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just wild.
Anyway, let's pull that goalie, Justin.
Let's pull him. Spoilers here. Rasmus Dahlin signed. He gets the bag.
He got the bag, man. Good for him.
Yeah,
worth every penny. Worth
for sure.
Every single penny.
Him and Owen Power are going to be quite the defensive tandem for years to come. I don't know if they're on the same line. I assume so, but like to have a cat like Owen Power, I think last year was his rookie season, coming onto a line where Dahlin's already there. That club is going to be good for years. And again, lock them up, lock that kid up, lock Darlene up.
And they've done such a wonderful job of locking those kids up. They locked up Darlene now. Tage is locked up. Cousins is locked up. Like I think Tucky's locked up. Like they've done such a great job, and I love to see it. Like obviously my allegiance will always be with the Capitals, but I love to see the Sabres turning into a great team, or they're turning into a good team, which can be a great team. I'm here for it, and I love to see it. And again, Darlene worth every single penny of that $11 million. That's going to be a great contract in a couple of years when the salary cap goes up, if it goes up. And yeah, that was an extension. So at least 9 more years as a Buffalo Sabre for Rasmus Dahlin. And then 8 with Tage and 8 with Cousins. Buffalo's, if they can, if Levi can be the guy that seems to be, and if 6K ends up being the backup, and he ends up being the guy that he could be, this will be a dangerous squad in a couple of years.
Yeah, man. The fact that they were on the doorstep last year, chances are they're in the conversation for sure this year. Like I think they're kind of a sexy pick, but they're going to be in the conversation this year, and I can't imagine them not being a lock from next year on, in at least a playoff team from next year on. So
agreed. And
I love it.
And this is perfect timing and the swing of how the NHL goes. Obviously Boston's on. We've already talked about this on our Would You Rather shows and whatnot, but Boston's on the way down. Buffalo's on the way up. Buffalo versus Toronto, I'm betting on Buffalo in the playoffs.
Man. For sure.
Every time. Because we know what happens in Toronto in playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And with also, we talk about Tampa Bay going on the downward too. So this is Buffalo's time. So I'm here for it. The other signing that we had, Jamie Drysdale is locked up in Anaheim, 3 years, $2.3 million. I don't really have much to say about that other than, he's a good piece for that young squad. So they lock him up for a couple of years. It's interesting we don't really know what the Ducks are doing, because these contracts that they've been signing guys to are just like bridge deals. They're not locking them up long term. So what is the plan for Anaheim? I'm curious if they even know. Truly.
Yeah, and to that point, Gibson, who has been vocal about wanting out, is still there. So you're telling me there's nobody in the league that is like, I'll take a vet like Gibson, who was single-handedly keeping this terrible Anaheim Ducks team in games. Nobody wants to take that risk.
Yeah, I'm very curious on what's happening over there in Anaheim. I don't get it. I'm curious to watch them. I want to watch a game. Obviously, I'm not going to stay up super late, but I'll catch a replay of their game. I just want to see how it goes, and maybe we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. Maybe Gibson does move somewhere again.
Yeah.
What are we doing, Anaheim? What are we doing? It's them. It's San Jose. What are you doing? Literally, what are you doing? I just want to know.
San Jose is tanking. we know that much.
Well, we'll talk about that.
So
let's hope that's.
I want to throw this one last thing in here. I hate to bring in something negative, but the NHL. Look, we're geeked up, but just 2 days ago, news broke: the NHL is not for everyone. Do something about that. Like, look, you want to pull the jerseys. I can semi understand that, and as long as you're pulling all of the jerseys, the warm-up jersey thing, okay, I can sort of understand that. But you're telling me guys can't put rainbow tape on their stick? That's messed up.
Yeah, my stance hasn't changed at all. I do think that we talked about it before, and I won't go on a rant or anything, but we talked about it before. If hockey's supposed to be for everyone, this doesn't help by taking away the warm-up jerseys and all that. But again, thinking about it, I can understand that as a freedom of expression thing, not making players wear whatever specialty sweater we're talking about. I can understand it. I don't know what Toronto's constitution is or whatever. That's a whole other thing. I can understand the thought of like, okay, maybe we take all the jerseys away, even no specialty nights, and we don't force anybody to express whatever, right? Also, there was a lot of bad negativity from interesting people in the world that were bringing bad negativity to something that was supposed to be good. But yeah, to your point, the rule, as far as I know it, states that any color tape can be used on a player's stick. So banning it is just a step backwards.
Very much.
Like we're going backwards, NHL. You can take away the themed nights, the specialty jerseys and all that. You can take that away. All right, I can live with that. But banning it, that's a step backwards, man. Like that's essentially just going to everything I just said about the freedom of expression. Players should be able to put whatever tape they want on their stick because it says in the rule book any color tape. So yeah, I just don't love it. Don't love it.
And after doing so well on opening night, like you picked the right games, you timed them out right. They did so well, but sneaking that in just beforehand, it really is sending the wrong message. It is very much sending a "you're not welcome" message, even if you think that isn't the message. Talk to your friends in these communities, and I guarantee you they don't feel welcome. And you are saying that you're not. And hockey is supposed to be for everyone. And we here at the Barn Chirpers podcast love hockey and want to share it with everyone. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. All I can say is I hope somebody takes the stand and just does it anyway and just give a big old FU to the NHL. Like, I'm going to express however I want to play this game. I hope somebody takes that step and does that and just takes whatever heat and whatever flack from it, because I guarantee you doing that will be a large step forward that needs to happen.
So again, hate to wrap it on such a negative note, but I figured let's put the negative note at the end of the show because we're leaving anyway.
But let's leave it on a positive, Justin. So what are you looking forward to this week? Like the Red Wings coming into town tomorrow night, Thursday night, for the game one, the home opener for the New Jersey Devils.
I think it's actually on Hulu as well, so I should be able to watch it. Although I think my wife has off, so it means we'll probably be watching Orange Is the New Black. So I might have to bring my laptop out and have it on in the corner or something. But honestly, I think I'm looking forward to just the availability. I was looking on, just to see what was getting aired. It sucks not as much as is going to be aired where I can watch it tonight, but to note that, what's actually going to be on ESPN Plus and what's going to actually be on Hulu, I thought that excited me. There's at least 2 games. I can watch my boys tomorrow night with Detroit, and I can watch your boys on Friday. I forget who they're playing, but I can watch. There you go. So the more hockey I can watch, the better, as proved by last night. I watched 2.5 games last night. I'll watch hockey all night if you've got it available to me. So,
and I did see something where it looks like HBO Max might be covering some things too, which is interesting to me. I don't understand that, but so apparently there's a lot of outlets, but you still can't watch every game. I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, so I mean, here's to the Devils and the Caps this week. Looking forward to that. Next week, I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about because this is the Barn Chirpers podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody. Again, quick like, subscribe, 5-star rating. We would appreciate that. Let us know what sweater you're getting this year and who your favorite player is for something fun. We're listening. Chirp at us at Barn Chirpers Pod. And with nothing else, stick taps and sellies, boys. Clap it up.
Clap it up. Woo! End the recording.